Hello, world, and welcome to the December 2025 edition of the Laravel Worldwide Meetup. My name is Dan Sapelsa. I'm a developer at Vehicle, and along with my co-host, Margaret Tavares, we are thrilled to once again bring you an awesome presentation from someone in this Laravel community, which we love so much. Speaking of my co-host, Margaret, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Dan. How about yourself?
Doing well. I'm as so often happens, we're in December. I'm reflective. Can't believe we're at this part of the year already, but also looking back on all the incredible stuff that's kind of happened in the community this year and the new stuff that's been released from the Laravel team. And also at this time of year, looking forward to what kind of next year has to bring, right? And on a personal level, I had the good fortune in the last month of attending Laracon AU. So what an incredible event. I would encourage anyone to check out that event whenever you get a chance. Thank you again to Michael Dorinda and team. It was just an incredible event and an incredible place to go and visit. So that was a really exciting community thing for me that's happened recently. So without further ado, though, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do, and then we'll bring in our speaker for today. So I'll turn things over to you, Margaret. What do we have?
Awesome. Thanks for passing it over, Dan. All right, so welcome everybody. And if you haven't heard about some amazing resources, I want to list a couple of them for you. So the first one is Laravel News. It's a really great resource hosted by Eric Barnes and his team. So they have a weekly email newsletter, and they also have a Laravel News podcast ran by Jake Bennett and Michael Dorinda, I'm sure, with Laracon AU. There's been a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to check them out at laravelnews.com, where they discuss all the latest Laravel releases in the last week and some tutorials and happenings in the Laravel community. Up next is Laravel Podcast, which is hosted by Matt Stauffer, who was our guest last month. For this season, Matt's having a member of the Laravel meetup for every single episode. So make sure to check them out at laravelpodcast.com and meet the Laravel team. Larajobs is another great resource if you haven't heard about it. So if you're looking to hire a Laravel developer, if you want to post a job, and for all your Laravel job needs, you can check them out at larajobs.com. We wanted to also feature some companies in the community that are also looking for some very talented Laravel developers. So if you want to find out some more information about OneDrive, Name.com, and on-the-go systems, you can check out the description box below for some links to what they're looking for. Laracast is another great resource if you want to learn about some Laravel. So big thank you to Jeffrey Way for running this awesome resource for anyone looking to build their Laravel skills. And so if you want to learn from others in the community, please check them out at laracasts.com. And check them out if you want to learn some Laravel. To also figure out what's going on in the Laravel community, if you go to laravel.com website, it's a great resource, going to community.laravel.com. It's a very in-depth source of all the meetups happening all over the world. So if you have an event or a meetup that you also want to share, you can register your event on the Laravel website on their new page. Another great feature on the Laravel website is Laravel Stories. So Laravel wants to shine a light on developers from every single part of the community. And so if you're just starting out with Laravel, or if you're building some cool stuff or quietly working behind the scenes with it, they want to hear from you. So check out laravel.com/stories. And then you could also answer some of Taylor's questions and share your story with the community. Also, a big thank you to our host Vehicle for helping support this meetup. They have a great team of developers. And so if you're looking for any Laravel conversations or helping them with any Laravel code, you can check them out at vehicle.com or email them at go@vehicle.com. We also have a giveaway. So if you scan that QR code, you can see our form. All you have to do is scan that QR code. We have our draw that's going to be starting today, and we're going to have it run until December 23rd. And big thanks to our sponsor, JetBrains, for giving away one of 2 JetBrains product licenses for an entire year. So all you got to do is scan that QR code and enter our draw. And I'll pass it off to Dan to introduce our speaker for this month.
All right. Our speaker this month is a co-founder of NativePHP Mobile, one half of the team there. If you remember, a number of months ago, we had the good fortune of Simon Hamp. Hello, Simon, joining us and kind of giving us a technical kind of dive on some of the challenges in getting PHP to run on a phone. And Shane's going to join us today and kind of give us a crash course on native PHP and how to get up and running and building your first mobile application with the platform. So without further ado, let's bring Shane in. Shane, how are you doing today?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so good. And warmer than I think most people here. So can't complain too much. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Yeah, we were talking a little bit before, and it's been a very busy year for you, and that sounds like it's going to continue into 2026, right?
It's snowballing, that's for sure.
No pun intended.
Puns, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of cool things have happened this year. I would say if you would have told me a year ago this is where I'd be, I would have punched you because I wouldn't believe you. You know,
that's awesome.
So yeah, very excited.
Yeah, and I think the excitement is shared across the community. There's a lot of people really excited about what you guys are doing, and yeah, the prospects of being able to build with something we already know and love so much, to extend that to the mobile platform is awesome. So we can get things going here. If you want to share your screen, it looks like you already have. So we'll
Yep.
bring up your slides there. I think we're all good there. So Margaret and I will step backstage and let you take things away here, Shane, and we'll do some Q&A after you're done your presentation. So
Perfect. I'll be here.
without
Thank
further
you so
ado,
much.
Shane Rosenthal, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everybody. We made it. We made it, team. The worldwide meetup. Simon and I, and I'll talk about him in a minute. We've done a lot of different outreaches and meetups and stuff all over the world this year. And to end it, this is the last one we have scheduled to end it at the Laravel Worldwide Meetup. Thank you to all the sponsors, Laravel, to Vehicle, everybody involved in putting this together. I'm super honored. I'm very happy. And excited to be here to talk to you about the thing I am completely obsessed about, which is, well, it's native PHP. And make sure I got the screen sharing just right. Perfect. Cool. Native PHP. If you haven't heard of it, you should look into this. I'm obviously a little bit biased, but you can build native mobile applications and desktop applications using the software, the framework you already know, and that's Laravel. The format for today, I've got a few slides I'm going to get through. I just want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same playing field. And then I'm going to do some demo. I'm going to show you something I've been hacking away at the last couple of days, and kind of like empowering you to also do the same thing, and some tooling that we've been working on just to get that going. So, like I said, we've done a lot of different speaking, a lot of different kinds of communities this year, and everywhere we go, we get asked this question: will this work for Symfony? Will this work for CodeIgniter or WordPress, God forbid? And the answer is yeah. Technically, what we've done, we've compiled PHP. We figured out a way to compile PHP for the OSs, for Android and for iOS. And it ends up being just a .c sort of library, not to get too technical on that part. But if you've ever done like a composer require, bring in a package, you have this dependency, and that's it, without using a package manager. It's kind of what we've done with Android and iOS. We brought in this dependency. It's native to the device at that point, and now we can just run PHP scripts through this engine. And yeah, we've got Laravel working. You can write your Laravel code, and you will see it happen on a phone. I'm going to show you. So it's kind of nostalgic a bit because, again, we get asked, will it work for this or work for that? But oh my God, I know him. I'm going to do a lot of Elf references throughout the talk. Just so if you haven't seen it, my apologies. Go and watch it, though. It's one of the funniest movies. I heard yesterday they're celebrating their 25th anniversary since the release, too. So that's pretty cool. But we built this for Laravel. We ourselves are Laravel developers. I think collectively, Simon Hamp, my co-founder, and I, we have like 30 years experience in Laravel. And so we built this for Laravel developers first. And to talk about Simon a little bit, Simon, so this is us. We are the co-founders of NativePHP. I work exclusively on the mobile side. So, and I'll say native PHP throughout. I almost always mean the mobile side only. If I mean desktop, I'll specify desktop. But Simon Hamp, we started a company back in February. It's called Bifrost Technology. This is a paid product, native PHP. We sell licenses. That's the way it currently is. We do want it to be free. And I see comments all the time about this, and we're not opposed to it. We're not against it, but we also have to pay our bills. And we do feel like this deserves some full-time people in it, working on it. And it just takes time and takes money. Eventually it will be free, and we know that, and we're working on that stuff. Simon, I think he's in the chat now under the Native PHP official. Don't ask too many questions from him. He is a South Pole elf, so that's a little joke there. He's not terribly grumpy, but you stay on his good side. So yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a few other folks that have been helping out a lot over the last. I mean, these guys: Willem Luverink, Esser Dennis, Pete Bishop. Some of them might even be in the chat. I'm ignoring the chat right now intentionally so I can stay focused. Willem, all of them have been working on the desktop stuff for a long time. They were all completely like involved before I ever even showed up on the scene. And they're doing a ton. I see stuff from Willem like every single day. He's doing some kind of work, PR, something on the desktop stuff. Esser also did a ton on Zephyr, which is an older product, and helped me for a couple months work on Bifrost, which is another product that we've got as well. And I'll be able to show you that today. And Pete Bishop, Pete actually works for Laravel. He is he works on, I believe he does customer service, customer support on Forge and Cloud. And Pete and his wife they just had their 23rd child. So big, fifth child, fifth or sixth child. So congratulations. They just had a baby girl last week. So congrats, Pete, and your wife and your whole family there. God bless you, sir. So I want to talk about native PHP. Let's bring it back in, right? PHP, we get asked this a lot. I'm from React Native. I'm from Flutter. Will this work? What am I going to experience? And here's the nuts and bolts. Here's the truth of it all. We don't have the kind of money that Meta or Google have. We also have we released version 1 in May of this year. So we are a long ways away from being able to really compete against the reach and the performance and all of the things that they've got. But we're already finding that we can compare on quite a few things. So we have a long way to go, but we're rapidly getting there. But this just isn't for some people, okay? I want everyone to be clear. This is not for some people. Some people just should not use native PHP. For example, the Grinch, okay? That guy lives up on a mountain. He probably has horrible Wi-Fi. It's cold. He lives in a cave. He's always grumpy, so he'd be horrible customer support side too. So like probably if you're the Grinch, this probably isn't for you. Also, like any of Rudolph's rivals, right? So like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he had a very shiny nose. If you ever saw it, you'd even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. And all of these rivals of Rudolph, right? They saw this new thing come in and they were like, boo, it's weird, it's different, I don't understand it, and I don't want it around me. And those rivals of Rudolph, if that's how you think, you know what happened? Rudolph ended up using his nose to light the way for Santa's sleigh because it was so stormy and so like dark they couldn't see, and he led the way. And if you're one of Rudolph's rivals, you might not be might not be a good product for you. And also just people that don't like it, right? If you're allergic to Ozempic, don't take Ozempic, right? And we do have internally, we have a name for people that just don't like native PHP. We never really publicly said this, but we call them cotton-headed ninny muggins. So don't be a cotton-headed ninny muggins, cotton-headed ninny muggins. Say that 10 times fast. If you don't like it, don't use it. And that's fine. But there are some people this is for, okay? Some people should use this, even if they've never even heard of it. They should use it. People that may or may not love candy canes, for example. You might love, I kind of like some candy canes. I like the not peppermint ones more, but you might love candy canes. You might hate candy canes, but you should still take a look at native PHP. All right. Anyone that's ever stood under mistletoe, okay? I think these people, they've just been looking for love in all the wrong places. So if you've ever stood under mistletoe, you probably should check out native PHP. But on a serious note, okay. Again, Simon and I are Laravel developers. We built this with you in mind. I have said no. I've built most of my career on freelancing, and I've said no so many times to people, my clients, asking me if I can do mobile applications. And I've watched them spend money with other teams and that money go out the door. And what do I do? I go and find another client. But you could keep the same clients. You can grow your client base. You can offer more with a product like native PHP. You better service the ones you already have, and you can gain more from it. So we built this for you. Really though? Really? Well, I think when people ask this question, I think number one, they have some sort of disbelief or prejudice about the performance, about some of the things about PHP. I also think those people haven't really looked with a microscope at how PHP actually works, really deep down in the belly of the beast. And I though believe that you don't have disbelief in PHP because you are building your career on PHP, right? You're feeding your kids with PHP. Simon and I, we are down there. We're with a microscope. We're with this magnifying glass, looking in a microscope with a magnifying glass. It gets very disorienting. we're looking to see not just how far can we push PHP, but how far does PHP naturally want to work with tools like this? And we're in that space every single day. All of these things that I'm going to pop up on the screen here, the camera, the sharing, the video, all of these APIs, this is what, if you get native PHP today, you go get a license, you try it out. These are things, and some more stuff too, that you directly have access to. One thing that we are publicly working on, and we're telling everybody about this, we're working on a way to build plugins. If you're familiar with like Filament, go to filamentphp.com, look at their plugins. They have a marketplace. We're working on the exact sort of concept where you can develop your own plugins that other people can install. And that's going to do two things for us. Number one, these take time for us to build out. That's time that we could be spending on performance optimization, native, building it into a native sort of paradigm versus having stuff in a web view. And other products that we have, we want to do video courses. We want to do work on Bifrost more and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's going to offset some of our time. It's going to allow us to focus a lot of energy back into other stuff. It also gets rid of bloat. So right now, a native PHP application, the way that it currently is, has microphone and biometrics. Even if you don't use that code, it's still in there, and that eventually will bloat things up. So we do need this sort of mechanism. We're really excited about rolling this out. It should be coming out next month. But there's way more than that. I don't know if you're, you should know, you are spoiled. You are a spoiled individual. I am a spoiled individual, and anybody coming from any other framework knows how spoiled you are. Laravel is top notch. Laravel covers all bases. I remember the very first time that I ran PHP Artisan make controller, test controller, and I got to see Taylor Otwell's code appear outside of the vendor directory. And I was just super wowed, super impressed, and got that feeling, this feeling of magic of, man, this is amazing. They're focusing on making my life easier and better. And yeah, Simon and I are of that same mindset when we're building native PHP, right? So like anything that we're touching, anything that we're doing, we're coming into it with this kind of like, we're looking at tooling, we're looking at the ecosystem that Laravel already is, and we're playing into all these things. So if you app icons, splash screens, for example, if you are building a mobile application, you have to open up Xcode or Android Studio. You have to put in certain files in certain places, and you have to make them certain dimensions, and you have to do all this stuff. You have to name it properly and make sure that it persists all the way to the App Store. And there's some nice tools around that. For us, you just go to the public directory, put splash.png or icon.png of a certain dimension. We're going to resize everything for you. Every time you run it, we'll make sure that those files are in place and they're good to go for you. We worked very hard to make sure inertia feels first class. We're both a little bit biased towards Livewire, but we both have a lot of Vue experience. And recently we've spent a lot of time working on adapters for making sure that it's a nice, smooth experience. And I'm going to be able to demo some of that here soon for inertia. Deep links, and really not just deep links, but anytime you're writing anything, any permissions that your app is going to require, again, you have to go to open up your info.plist in Xcode. You have to change some of the stuff there, or you have to go into your Android manifest.xml file and you have to change stuff. And you have to make sure that's all good. Other frameworks are doing this now. React Native, that's kind of how you have to do that now. We're Laravel developers. We give you a config, nativephp.php. There's a permissions array. You have a bunch of permissions there that you can set to true. You can put your strings that you want to declare, like why you need camera. For iOS, that's more of a concern. And you're off to the races. We're building this around the Laravel developer. Live reload, hot module replacement. I don't know if you knew this, but whenever you put an app on a phone, you almost have to think of that that app is kind of like, or that device is kind of like a server running someplace else. So, we would just think, live reloading and hot module replacement, that should just kind of work because we're spoiled and that's what we want. And we want that too. And so we ran to that. We've been working on that. And I feel like we've really got it nice and solid now. But that was a challenge. Edge components. So Edge is our element description generation engine. That's our fancy, almost trademarked term for you can use Blade. And pretty soon I've got some cool things happening now for JavaScript side. But you can use Blade and render native elements, which is insane. You're using Laravel Blade, and if you're on iOS 26, you have liquid glass navigation. It's awesome. And Laravel Boost, like I like vibe coding, you like vibe coding. Let's go vibe code some apps, right? So we already have guidelines inside of NativePHP for Laravel Boost, and there's so many things that we're still working on. I mentioned Bifrost a little bit, and I'll give a little demo of Bifrost later. Bifrost is, it's the name of the company, but it's also a product. Bifrost is like Laravel Cloud. So we don't have to worry so much about servers in the sense of like where your app ultimately lives. It's going to be on the App Store, the Play Store, but you still need a way to build it. And God forbid, if you're on a Windows machine and you're trying to build for iOS, you just can't do it. Good luck, Charlie. You just can't, right? With Bifrost, you can link your GitHub repository. You can share signing credentials securely with anybody else on your team and manage those credentials, which is a nightmare if you're outside of some kind of tooling like this. We're supporting Android, iOS. We're doing desktop. It's behind a feature flag. I know there's probably some people here today, or we'll watch this later, that are like, where's desktop? It's behind a feature flag. We're working on that. We're hoping to have that out in the next couple of weeks. This last point here, though, consistently building Android under 10 minutes, iOS under 5. It's actually much less than that, and we'll demo that a little bit. Yeah, so I don't do much React Native or Flutter, but I do peek my head into those communities. And this has been like, I wouldn't normally put this on here, but they are consistently struggling to get under half an hour build times. And we just found that we're not like that. It's just the way that we're doing things is we don't really have to worry about that so much. And there's room to grow and to improve on that. So we're going to shout out about it, right? Like it's a win that we didn't even plan on. And there we go. So who wants to see some code? I bet you do. I'm going to close this down, move this over, open this up, and I'm going to show you some code. I've got a little thing here that I've been working on the last couple of days, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of it. We're going to pull it up. We're going to play with it a little bit. My son, his name is Carson. His birthday is on December 29th of this year, of every year. Sorry. And he's going to be 16 this year. And this year, just a couple weeks ago, he got his driver's permit. If you guys could, though, as a side note, if everyone could just like say hi, a happy birthday, Carson, happy birthday, Carson. I'm going to show him when he gets home from school today. He'll love it. He'll flip out. He's a big fan of NativePHP, of course. But he's learning how to drive, and I'm giving him lessons. And one of the things that I wanted for myself was like, it'd be really cool if I could just like start a timer and end a timer when he's done driving. It would track the day, the time, and I could maybe just take some notes on like what we worked on. And that's kind of what I've got here. It could absolutely improve from here, but this is what I've got. We could tie in location, put it on a map, and I could have a checklist of like total overall skills, where he's at, the things that we've covered, the things that we have yet to cover. But I just vibe coded this in like a day. Okay. And then I had like Gemini 3 work on the UI, which I think is really pretty slick. And yeah, so I want to show you just a quick demo of how this kind of works. So this is running on an emulator on my Android device. I'm going to click sign in, and it's checking to see if I've signed in before, and I have. So it's with an emulator, you actually have this this sensor ability in the options for emulators, which is really handy. No pun intended. And yeah, so if I use the right finger, I'm demoing like using the wrong finger to show that it is true authentication from the device. So I'll use the right finger, and that lets us in, and that logs us in. And I think that is one thing that I want you to pay attention to. And I think the other part of this is that, and this is what pretty much the whole demo is going to be today, the paradigm shift that you have to have when you're building mobile apps versus web apps. Mobile apps, again, these are kind of like their own servers, right? They have a SQLite database on them that we can use, and that is good to have data on the device, but that doesn't get shared with other devices. That doesn't allow you to interact with other people. You almost always need some sort of API backend that's going to host your data, that's going to provide authentication, and it's going to allow you to make secure calls. And then we have to trust the device is going to, if we have like an API token, we have to make sure that those are secure as well. And so, yeah, that's the quick demo. That's just like what we're going towards. But I want to empower you. My son's also a Boy Scout. And they teach something called the EDGE method. The last E stands for empowerment. So you teach somebody something, you go over it, you guide them, and then you empower them. You give them the tools so that they can go out and do that themselves. And that's what I'm going to do for you right now. I'm going to use a tool. You've probably heard of it before, called Herd. Yep. If you haven't heard, now you heard. Herd is pretty cool. I'm going to make a new site with Herd, and I'm going to make a new Laravel project. We're going to use a custom starter kit. I've been working quite a bit on starter kits. We do have a Livewire and we have a Vue starter kit. I'm going to be doing the Vue inertia starter kit today. Quick shout out to me. Actually, I was always scrolling down to get to the README and stuff. So I just whipped together an extension for Chrome and for Firefox called README. So this will just put your README at the top of all your GitHub repositories. So you just go to a repo and it's just going to be there on the top. So go check it out. It's free. Just go. I mean, to me, it just saves me a ton of time scrolling. But that's not the point. Let's get into it. We're going to copy this URL. We're going to go here. We're going to call this delete me. I have 600 delete me's on my other computer. We're going to paste this in here. I don't need a Git repository because we are going to push to Bifrost, but we're going to use the other, the driver said, if the internet gods and the live coding gods allow us to, but I think we'll be fine. The application already exists. Of course it does. So this is delete me 3. We'll just call it delete me 3. That worked. Cool. So let's go ahead into PHP Storm and we're going to open this up. And this is in my code directory. And here's delete me 3. There's the old one, the old delete me. Cool. Open this in a new window because I want to keep driver said official open. We'll let this index for a minute. Let's make sure we can move it around. I'm going to move this over. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Last 2/3. Cool. Okay, so we have this brand new, fresh starter kit. And there's a couple of things I'm going to set up, and I'll try to talk my way through some of it at the same time. With developing locally, but using or building an app that's going to be using some API backend, we're going to need a couple tools to expose our code to the world. And that's what we're going to want to interface with. So I'm going to open up delete me 3, and we've got a database.sqlite. Let's just test that connection. So this is the one that you're already familiar with if you're a Laravel developer, which of course you are, inside of database.sqlite. This is that database, okay? Again, a fresh application. There's not going to be any data in here, no users or anything like that. I'm going to expose my application to the World Wide Web. I'm going to ask you please not to try to visit this URL while I'm demoing. If anything weird kind of happens, I'll just get a new one. But I'm going to do PHP artisan serve. That's going to serve up my local thing. I know you can do herd share, but I was having some technical issues with that just before this. So I'm using ngrok for now. So I'm going to do ngrok HTTP 8000, and that should fire up, and it did. So again, please, I'm going to trust you and ask you not to take this URL, and I'm going to try to hide it pretty quickly. There we go. All right. And I'm going to go into my env. I'm going to scroll down here. So these are some things that this starter kit kind of helps me out with. So I'm just going to paste in this URL for ngrok, and that's going to, again, tie my app to this to the server. And then I think there's not much really more I need to do. We're going to change this. We're going to call this, let's call this Worldwide Meetup. How about that? I would do Laravel Forever, but it's a little bit long. And you know, it's like the app name itself. So we'll call this WWMU, and I will change this from API starter to Worldwide Meetup. And we'll keep this in debug mode for now. And that's fine. I'm going to do npm install. And I'm going to do a couple commands here. So let's take a look. Simon actually built this really nice little shell script that normally we would do PHP artisan native install, for example. But he got rid of this having to do PHP artisan, and we can just do /native install. And I took it a step further and created just a local alias n. So I can do n install. And I do this like 10 billion times a week. And every little bit that I can shave off a little time, I'm going to try to optimize. So that just installed the application. That gave me a native PHP directory in my root here. And that put Android and iOS folders inside. And this has all of your code for the application to boot up for each of them respectively. Again, we're going to be using Android today. I didn't have to install the iOS, but I did just to do it. Probably force of habit. So we're going to do n run. I could do Android, or again, I like short, so n run a. And then I also want the our watch run. So you could do the watch flag, or again, shortcut -w. So capital W. So that's going to start at the Vite server. That's going to do a bunch of zipping and unzipping and all sorts of magic, Christmas magic. This is Santa coming down the chimney, and we're going to get this app actually deployed. And while that's sort of booting up here, it does take a second, a minute, usually the first time, because it's building the Gradle cache. I'm going to go and take a look at, let's go this way. Let's go to web.php. And we're just going to look at this real quick. I want to shrink the database down for a moment, and I want to show you what we've got going on here. So number one, you'll notice we have a middleware, this mobile auth middleware around some routes, and then we have some unmiddlewared, unprotected routes as well. And so when the app first boots up, we're going to hit this auth check controller. And when this gets invoked, we're first checking to see if the secure storage get API token is blank. If it's blank, and I'll explain what that is in a second. If that is blank, then we're going to take you to the login screen. I see the login screen, so this must be blank, right? If not, if this doesn't return truthy, then we're going to hit this auth check inertia page. So login. And before I get to login, actually, the secure storage, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's source dive this just a bit. This is a facade. This is what you're familiar with. Again, we built this for Laravel. It's a facade, and we're wrapping this PHP class. And this PHP class knows how to call into our what we call God method. This is NativePHP_call. And so we have this God method. We can pass in any string that we want to that the app knows about, and then any sort of payload on the other side of it, and it's going to just call that natively on the device. Whether it's Android or iOS, we figured out how to implement that on that side. So we're using PHP sort of this tunnel into C land, and we're able to call these native things. So this is just a key value pair sort of mechanism. So you've got set, you've got get, so you get the key, you do get, you specify a key, and it's going to give you the value, and then we've got delete, and it's just basic stuff. But what's really interesting about secure storage is secure storage. First of all, it's siloed to your application. Other apps cannot access the data here. Number two, it's fully encrypted on the device. There's no third-party dependencies here. It's both devices, both OSs offer this ability to have secure storage, shared preferences, etc. It's the same thing that you would do if you were using, like if you were building an app for your bank, right? Your bank, you're going to make some API call, you're going to authenticate a user, they're going to give you back some API token, and you don't want that in session because that'll you have to log in every single time you open the app. And you don't want that in like just some plain text file someplace. It has to be secure. This is actually one of the very first APIs that we rolled out with when we started with version 1. So this is secure storage. So we're checking for the existence of that key. If that key is not there, we're redirecting to login. And I'm going to go ahead. You can just skip login. You could read this if you want to. You may have already, but you don't need to. And I'm not going to skip login because I should be wired up here to my API. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign up. I'm going to put my name, Shane, and this is Shane at nativephp.com. My password is password. Please don't tell anybody. And I'm going to confirm that, and I'm going to click create account. And if with any luck, all right, so that logged us in, number one. Let's check our users table now and see. Yep, there we go. So that gave us our user. We should be able to, it's a little risky. I just fixed this right before I started here. So we'll do Shane Mac. That was what they called me back in the day, right? So it looks like that updated successfully. And if I refresh, I've got that data here. So this is how I develop apps until I get to the point where I'm pushing this to a Forge or a Cloud, and I want the API working out on Forge or Cloud, and I want to interact with it directly. Maybe you have like a staging account someplace or something like that. Until then, this is how I get by with most things. This is how I build stuff out. I want to take you back though. Well, we'll show just like a real quick this demo app that you get. It's got Laravel News. Shout out Eric Barnes on the golf course, probably. And I mean, what other app, what would you do if you had the coolest app in the world? You'd have Laravel News stuff in there, right? Not a paid sponsor. So yeah, we've just got like basic stuff here. If I click on home, I also want to point out these are Edge. These are those Edge, the element description generation engine. So this is actual native. And on iOS, this would be the liquid glass. This is actual native navigation here. Same thing for the top bar up on top. And so we're always working on trying to get this even closer to native. But I'm going to close the app. We can close the other one too. And I'm going to reopen it. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the code of what happens when I get to the next step. Let's go to web. And I think actually it's better if I just go into resources, JavaScript, pages, mobile, auth, check. All right. Open that up. And let's shrink this stuff down a little bit. Number one, I did run this with the watch command. So I should be able to like change things in real time. And so, yeah, you can see that happening. And it's not just pushing that file. That is HMR. So if I did something like, I think my phone's in dark mode. Let's do dark text green 400 or something. Yeah, that just works. So that's like very, very quick, actually. Before I even looked up, it had already changed. See how cool that is? So we've got HMR working. And let's walk through some of this code. So this is just like some HTML. You can see the really important part here is when you click this button right here, I'll zoom in a little bit, we're prompting for biometric ID. And that's going to call this function biometric.prompt. Biometric is imported from our hashtag NativePHP, pound NativePHP. This we have docs on this, but on the starter kit, this is actually coming in from, we've already put it into the package.json. So you can see it here. We're importing this for you. And this is coming directly from the vendor directory. This is inside of our NativePHP Mobile application. The reason we did that is number one, NPM registry, not something that it adds complexity to everything. And two, like it's just unnecessary. For the time being, it's unnecessary. We could abstract this out, but this is our JavaScript sort of library that allows us to do all this stuff. Let's go back to check. So we're importing biometric events. If you were involved with NativePHP, NativePHP before version 2 came out just about a month ago, you would know that you would have to do your on-mounted lifecycle hook, and you'd have to specify the key of the event, and then this double escaped or quadruple escaped string, backslash, all this stuff. We recently came out with this as well. This is like a constant that we have for events. So let's go down to the on-mounted lifecycle hook. And if you're familiar with Livewire, I'm sorry, with Vue, then you already know about on-mounted and on-unmounted. We have this on function that helps you register the listener. So this is nice and clean. You can just say, hey, on biometric completed, call this callback. Don't forget to turn them off too, because if you're listening for an alert on one page, I actually had this experience. I had when an alert was received, or the dialogue was, when that event fired off, I was actually in another component deleting your account, which you don't want to do. So make sure you, on unmounted, handle that, turning off that callback, at least in the world of single page applications. So when this event is fired, we're going to handle that biometric complete. And so this gives us a payload, and it's got a success Boolean inside of it. And if it's true, then we're just going to do a window redirect. We could use inertia redirect here, but for some reasons there are some, and it's in our docs, but there are certain circumstances where you want this to be here. At least the way that it currently is. I've actually done some work on that, but that's number one. Number two, this prompt for biometric ID, we're just awaiting this prompt. Again, the paradigm here of we want to tell the device to go do some work and just let us know when you're done, instead of like asking or polling or waiting or like running some process someplace that's just constantly draining battery, overheating the device, etc. We don't want to do that. So we're just saying, hey, device, go prompt the user for their biometrics. And when you're done, call back this handle biometrics complete. And so that's exactly what we've got here. So when we click this, it's going to prompt the user. And then if we use the wrong finger, it's not going to do anything of value. And when we use the right finger, which is number one, then it's going to allow us to go in. And that is that. Doing pretty good on time. I do want to, I really wanted to drive that home. The whole paradigm here of having the API backend distant, or at least in your mind, think about it as being this separate thing. It's not your local anything, and always try to develop mobile apps in that direction. Number one. Number two, even though somebody might have authenticated, just like your bank, again, you might have signed in before, but now we need to double protect the sensitive data with some biometrics, something that's native to the device. That's another layer of security there. So let's take a look at Bifrost. I'm excited about Bifrost. This is the future of the company. That's why we named it this. And yeah, I played around with this a little bit. I'm not gonna try to hide or make it look like I haven't done something that I've done, etc. I've gone ahead and I'm just making sure that I'm signed in still to all of these. I've gone ahead and I've actually created the apps on both App Store and Google Play Store. And I did it all with Bifrost, and then I deleted my project out of Bifrost. I wanted to test and make sure it would be a good demo. I'll tell you, there was no problems with it. It was completely successful. And so I'm anticipating the same level of success right now. So let's go into Bifrost. Bifrost is, we're at the dashboard. Yeah. So I can come in here. First of all, everything is scoped to teams. This is mine and Simon's team. This is our native PHP team. Inside of teams, you have projects, and projects, you have all sorts of different kinds of projects. We're going to create a new project. So I'm going to click this. We're going to say create new. Again, like I said, desktop is currently under a feature flag. So I have access to that, but that's not the point of today. This is going to be, we're going to call this driver said. We're going to click next. Yep, I should have not shown that key. I'll have to recycle that. So don't even bother. We'll recycle it. I'm going to select this repository for driver said. Oh, that's the name of it, by the way. Driver said, you get it. I'm going to click my other GitHub user, and I'm going to select that user account. And then I'm going to type in the name of my repository and give that a second to search. And there we go. So here's driver said. We selected it. We're going to complete the setup. Cool. So we're redirected back into our dashboard, and you can see we have a launch checklist on our build section. If you don't have all of these things kind of set up properly, you just can't run a build. There would be a nice ship it button up here. So it's saying we need some signing credentials. Inside of, let me put these side by side just for a moment. Inside of NativePHP, we've actually created it's this one. We've created a method or a function for you, a command that allows you to create credentials or to facilitate that process. We also have videos inside of Bifrost. If you go into credentials and you want to add your Android credentials, you can look exactly. I just made a video showing step by step everything you've got to do here. It can be a little cumbersome if you've not done it before. And I've done the same thing for iOS. So I've already gone ahead and created all of the credentials that I need for this. I'm just going to go through and we're going to do the Android one. So this is com.nativephp. I know that was the other one. It is driver said. There's some things that have to match. So I'll make sure I get this right. We're going to do this key store. So I'm going to go into driver set official. We're going to go into credentials, and it says app release.jks. The password is password. The key alias is, I think it's key store. And the Android key password is also password. Let me make sure this it's app key. App key and password. Cool. I'm not using FCM. FCM is Firebase, the server key for Firebase. So we're going to skip that. That's for push notifications that I just don't have wired up yet. We'll close that. Google service account key file. That's going to be this service account.json. I'm going to click next, and look at that. I'm ready to deploy Android. In fact, while I'm doing my iOS stuff, I'm going to do that. Let's go into builds. Let's go to ship it. Let's say this is version 0.0.2. I think that's the next one up from 0.0.1. It's on my main branch. I'm going to select Android. I'm on a signed AAB. I'm going to select my, oh, there's a typo there. That's not going to work. I wonder if I can edit that. See that, guys? We're going to have to delete this one. I should have a way to edit that. I don't. So there you go. The curse of the live coding gods, right? com.nativephp .driver said. Do this one more time. This is giving you good practice anyway. You guys get to see it again. We'll add this one. We will add our password. And the key alias is app key. And password. Close that, skip it. Upload. Select next. See how fast it is? See how fast that is? No big deal. Let's go back to our builds. And now we should be able to, this thing's annoying. Let's do 0.0.2. Main branch, Android, AAB, build configuration. There we go. And we don't need ICU-INTL support. There's docs on why you would or wouldn't need that. So we're going to start that off. While we're doing that, we're going to go back into our, well, we could take a look at this real quick. We also have support for like if you need specific environment variables, if you have like any custom build commands. So like this is a great example, Flux UI, you add your email and your license key. If you have something like that, that you need some custom, again, docs on all this, some sort of custom build command to be ran, that's where you would do it. So let's go back into credentials. We're going to add our iOS. Again, there's a video here if you want to watch it. We're going to do the same thing, com.nativephp.driver said. Next, we're going to do App Store distribution type. We're going to do our certificate file. You guessed it, password is the password. Profile, mobile provisioning profile. Select that. We're going to skip the Firebase. So we'll skip Firebase. And we'll do our App Store API connect stuff. So this is, actually I have to go into, let's do this because I'm using one from another project. Let's go to dashboard, just so I don't lose place. Let's go to the, I'm going to use a Woof app that I built at Wire Live, which is awesome. If you guys were there, you know. Let's go into credentials, and I'm just going to steal this one real quick. Here is the App Store Connect key that I need. That's the key that's issuer identifier. And this is the key ID, and I'm going to call this, we'll just call this Bifrost, and that's fine. Great. Okay, so now we go back into builds. We can say ship it. We can see that the Android is actually on the packaging step. We're going to say this is version, what do we have here? 0.0.1 as well. So we're going to do 0.0.2. Main branch, we're going to do iOS. We're going to select that distribution that I just created. We're going to say deploy, and that's going to put it out on the App Store inside of Test Flight. And that's all there is to it. Like there's cool things you can do. You can come in here and look at the logs. If you've ever done logging like this, it's a nightmare. And to figure out, like, I've never done it before. I had to figure it out. So this is a challenge. This is fun. You also have the raw logs, and when you're done with everything, if there's ever a problem, you can actually download the entire raw log stack. You can send it into AI. You can send it to me. I can also see all that stuff too. And so we're always trying to make sure that everything is up to snuff. And I'm really excited for the future of Bifrost. So some of the things that we're working on for the future of Bifrost are over-the-air updates. Again, we just rolled out version 2 just recently of NativePHP. So going into January, we're going to start spending a lot more time back in Bifrost and getting over-the-air updates done. You could see, like, whenever I click ship it, I'm like selecting the different stuff. I would love to have pre-configured like workflows or automated workflows. I would love to be able to, like, when I push to this branch, it automatically deploys to Android only, or, you know, goes to production or whatever it is. So those are some of the things that we're working on, as well as we're looking at integrating with some backend servers. So if you do need an API server, maybe we can integrate with some service provider out there. So lots of really fun, cool things coming out for NativePHP, but also for Bifrost at large, the whole company. And I think we'll leave this here for a little bit, but I think that's about all I've got as far as the talk is concerned today. Oh, there's one more thing. I'll do one more thing here. Let's go back to my slides. Bifrost, let's just go to bifrost.com. Bifrost, this is where we want everyone to ultimately be. If you go to look at the pricing, I'd have to log out. I can just do this. We have monthly and yearly pricing. It's $19.49 or $99. If you go with annual, you get 2 months for free. In addition to that, we normally do, anytime we do a meetup, we do a 10% discount. We are actually, because it's the end of the year, because it is Laravel, and it's Laravel Worldwide Meetup, it's 2025. We're going to do actually 25% off. So you can use the Laravelforever25 coupon code. You get 25% off. Just head over to bifrost.nativephp.com. Again, we'll go back and look at how that's all deploying out to the stores here in a second. But last slide. Thank you so much for having me. Simon and I are really excited to also announce, we did it on Twitter last week, I think, but we are also going to India in January. So we're real excited to go to India. I've never even thought of going to India. So this is going to be very exciting. We're going to be speaking at Laracon India there. And there's already some other cool things we'll be announcing too. So follow us on Twitter, follow NativePHP on Twitter. And yeah, we have a lot of very exciting things coming up very soon that we're excited to show you guys. We can go back real quick to this and see how it's going. And yeah, Android is just about done, I would imagine. But maybe we can leave this screen up and see if there's any questions from the audience.
All right. Thank you very much, Shane. That was information packed, and yeah, definitely makes me feel like it's pretty easy to get going with some of this stuff. So if you haven't given it a chance, given it a shot yet, then definitely check things out here. There's a lot of chatter in the chat. I don't know exactly where to start. Maybe this first question here. This goes back to, I think, one of your first slides of I think it was, the title was "Who This Is Not For," and I think the Grinch was one of them. So Kyle here asked, isn't it better that the Grinch should use NativePHP because it supports offline first easily, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, actually, I don't know what happened here. Looks like Cloudflare went down. Cool. All right.
There is maybe a question in there. Offline first. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, for sure. So everything is technically offline first. Again, we ship with a SQLite database on the device. So you absolutely don't need internet connection for these to boot up unless your application needs internet, right? And so you have to kind of think about some of the life cycle of making any kind of API calls. I also I make an effort to go and strip out all of the like any external fonts that are included with Laravel default application. So your app.blade.php usually has a font in there, stuff like that. But absolutely, we also created some functions where you can say, is this system online? Is it on Wi-Fi? All that kind of stuff. There's some cool things we're working on as well in regards to that was funny. In regards to like background services and queues. So with queues, I've toyed around with this a little bit. We're not announcing anything, but queues, you actually can you know, say the queue will only trigger when you're on Wi-Fi, or when you're plugged in, or when you're on cellular only, or if you don't have low data. And so both of the devices actually give us hooks for some of that stuff, and we're absolutely building around that.
Very cool. Another question, and there was a bunch of different versions of it. Let's maybe cycle through them. Is it free? When will it be free? Payment gateway available? Free with a question mark. Trial, is this not free? So maybe, yeah, just to kind of like summarize things. Like, let's say right now I've never used native PHP before. I want to build my first native app, see if this is for me. What do I need to kind of get set up, and what's like kind of the initial expense that I need to get rolling here?
For sure. Looks like Android failed, so we'll come back and fix that some other time. We could probably turn that down now because those are pretty much finished. Maybe with the iOS thing, and then I'll address that.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's 0.0.2 processing still. So it was received on the App Store. This one failed for whatever reason. I could dig through the logs and figure that out. So free. So we want it to be free. We're very vocal about that. We tell everybody this is the direction that we want it to be. We know that we can't actually compete against our competitors until we are free. React Native and Flutter, as we see it, are really only concerns in that regards. Number one, if we made it free, it would inundate us with support right now. And again, it's just Simon and I for the most part on the mobile side. And that will very much distract us from optimizing performance and getting it to a place where we're really ready to receive that level of support request. As far as like, how do you get into it? Oh, I will say too, I can't talk much about it, but we will have a tool in the very near future that will allow you to build for free. So I can't tease too much more than that until it's really official, but we have definitely proofs of concepts, and you could pretty much just like do a Laravel new sort of thing, and then you can see the app running and you can code in real time and all that stuff. So that's coming out very soon. I think as far as like pricing, if you want to get involved today, you can go, that 25% discount will apply for monthly and annual. So you can use that on anything. If you go with the low-key plan, which is, you know, stay low key with Loki, we'll give you 25% off the monthly price. So that's what, $5-ish off. So $15, we give you a free mini license on that plan. If you go with the Thor or Hella annual package, we give you the max license. That lets you build as many apps as you really want to. So, you know, what would normally be about $1,000 is around $750, but that gives you the max license, which I think we're selling for $250, something like that, $200, $300, whatever it is. We changed the pricing a few times, so I forget where that's at. But that gives you that for free for the next year, as well as Bifrost, unlimited builds, sharing everything with your team, better support. Also, we're asking for that. This is how we're paying our bills right now.
Sure.
We're asking for people to support us in this. The more drive and the more attention we get on all of this, the sooner we can run to having a freer version.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can understand that, and that model, I think we've seen that before. So like, yeah, if I'm a member of the community and like I have the same goal as you and Simon, I want to eventually see this be free. What's the best thing I can do to help support that effort and move in that direction?
Shout about it, go build apps. Like that's we have in our Discord, we have a channel called Show Your App. We also have, I forget what it's called, but on our native PHP site, there's a place where you can kind of show your apps that you've been building, working on. The more people that we see coming in through those channels, the more apps that are going out there, the more other people are going to see just how serious this should be taken. This is a way that you can build actual native. There's hundreds of apps now in both the Play stores. there's not hundreds of apps being showcased on our site and our channels. So we do want to be more vocal about that and get the word out more. We want more companies to come alongside. If you're a company that wants to partner with us, if you want like dedicated first-class support, I'm telling you, I'm biased about this whole project, of course, but I also am very realistic about the numbers and expectations that we have. Our lofty goal is to have every app in the Play stores, half of every single of all of the apps will be built with native PHP in 10 years. That's a lot. That's a lot of apps. That's a lot of stuff. The thing is, I have numbers to back up those numbers, because if you look at the sheer volume of PHP developers that are out there, the fact that we're integrating first party with AI, and for JavaScript developers, there's no reason that Laravel has 15 years, almost 15 years of building resources, community, and all of these tools that we can just jump in and utilize to catapult this whole project. There's no reason why this can't be at, that grand scale. We just need to spend more time on optimization, making it actually native, and building out all these really cool tools, DevX tools that are going to just make the experience that much better for everybody. So that's where our focus is. If you want to partner with us, I know that in the future, the floodgates will open. There will be thousands of retail sort of non-techie normies, using native PHP vibe coding their way through stuff, and they're going to need help from companies. Now is a great time to come in with us and learn the product, ask some questions, help us shape the way that it moves in the future, and really be able to poise yourself in a position that's able to help a lot more people in the years to come.
Yeah, okay, that's a very, very thorough answer. Yeah, and I think I think that answers
Caffeine
a lot of
kicked in.
that answers a lot of people's thoughts or concerns or whatever, of just like, especially if you are thinking of building something on native PHP and you're holding back at the moment or have concerns about where things might go in the future. I think reaching out to Shane and Simon and sharing those and kind of building a partnership there could really help that and help drive the project forward, right? So community involvement is the name of the game, as always, right? So
very much so.
Awesome. Margaret, do you have any questions over there?
Yeah. So I see a couple of questions in the chat. Maybe some simple questions to kind of just break down a little bit more about the advantage. Mill Mike asks, how big is a simple Hello World APK?
APKs, I actually was, the way that we've compiled PHP for Android is different than for iOS. It's just nuts and bolts, just a Laravel APK. We're coming in about 26 megabytes is roughly where we're at currently. The binary size is sitting just under 7 megabytes, I believe. And the rest of Laravel, there can be optimizations too. One of the things that can bloat your app a bit is if you're including assets inside of the app, if there's some vendor packages that you're just not even using, but they're still there, you can exclude those inside of our config. You can add those to an exclusions array to slim down your application. So you have to be kind of careful with some of that because you might another package might require that. But yeah, we are looking always at making it smaller and faster. Yeah,
no, that's awesome. It definitely puts some perspective and understanding capabilities. And then I guess another technical question, someone's curious to know. So Kyle asks, does it work offline with data syncing?
Not entirely sure what exactly that. Oh, so I guess if you want to like sync data in the background, have some sort of backgrounding process. No, not currently. Though just last week, I did break some ground on running background services. And some other really cool things that we talk about in our live stream. By the way, every Friday, we're in a live stream, Simon and I. You can check us out. We talk about a lot of these things, but we did kind of break ground also on multi-threading support, which will speed up PHP quite a bit, and background tasks. So at least for Android, it will be possible. It will be possible on iOS. It's just a different mechanism. We have to wrap our head around that a little bit better.
Great, cool. Another question, I guess more specific. So Luke asks, and I remember seeing Luke at WireLive as well. Can you enable a desktop flag on my account, pretty please?
He asked me about that like last week. I totally, yes. Simon, please go activate his account.
Resolved. Nice.
Yeah.
I had a similar, just a sort of a conceptual question as I think Mike here about SQLite. You showed there that you created a SQLite DB and that's what you're using internally. Do you have to use SQLite? He says, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So inside of the application, without having any access to the internet, you have a SQLite database and you have the drivers for it. So you can store data locally, no problem. The reasons, and this usually ends up in this next question, which is like, what about having MySQL PDO drivers? We intentionally did not, and that could change in the future, but we intentionally didn't add drivers for that because we know, because hundreds of people have already told us, why can't we do X, Y, and Z, which is putting production credentials in your ENV that end up on your user's device. And that's this big security vulnerability. Nobody that's a mobile developer would ever do that. They always are going to use some API with authentication. So it's kind of like a mechanism of safety around that. But as far as there's a local database, and I meant to mention this for the driver said app, when I showed this to Simon yesterday, he suggests, he's like, what I would normally do is when you click start the timer to start the timer for that session, I would log that locally to the database. Because what if you're not even online at that point? And then when you finish it, that's when you would sync, or you would check if you're online at that point and sync that up to the API. So you get a much faster, quicker response from the application. I just didn't build it in that way, but that's why I have a partner and he's got my back. So.
All right. This question here seems like maybe 3 questions in one, but how much memory does a Laravel application consume on mobile? Does it run inside a web view? And how does the payment gateway work? Feel free to tackle any of those questions, Shane.
Next. No, I'm just kidding. So PHP by default, I think it sets 128 megabytes. So you really don't do much more than that. We are just now starting to run profiling. So within Android Studio and Xcode, there are some tools where we can profile some stuff. We're getting really, really specific. And just in the last couple of weeks, like I said, we were looking very closely at multi-threading, at background service tasks, et cetera, and ways that we can optimize that stuff. Honestly, yes. Number one, it's a web view for the way that all of the response coming from PHP is rendered with HTML. So PHP loves HTML. It just gives us a string back from PHP that we just parse and add the headers and the body and put that inside of a web view the way that it currently is. The edge components that I was demonstrating, those are actual native components. So we figured out a way to instruct the OS to give us native elements. And that kind of cracks the door, puts our foot in the door a bit on the future of that. And we do want to, and we'll still have WebView, but it will be wrapped inside of like a component of a WebView. So you could have multiple WebViews technically inside of a single, application viewport. So there's some work to do there. The payment gateway, I'm not entirely sure if you mean like in-app purchasing or
I don't know
what that is. I'll answer like the in-app purchasing thing because that's a pretty often common question. Mm-hmm. We started working on that a bit, but we are full on moving in the direction of plugins. We're going to make that as a plugin. It's not going to be bundled into NativePHP. It'll be a separate package that you can install into NativePHP. So we're focused right now. Again, it's just Simon and I. We're focused fully on getting plugins out and shipped. And once we get that, a lot of the things that we have right now inside of NativePHP are going to have to come out as plugins anyway. But we intend to either we'll make one or somebody from the community can make one as well.
What that seems really intriguing, the concept of a plugin ecosystem. So what kinds of features do you envision that plugins might be able to add on top of like the core offerings?
Oh, baby. All of them. So I've already done some sample plugins, just testing out dog food and kind of my own implementation of plugins. I've done some augmented reality stuff. I've done some offline LLMs that will detect items from my camera. And I have like, you can go to my Twitter and just see the videos. Like I'm just like looking around the room and it's like cat, couch, laptop, hand, foot. Like it's just in real time interacting with stuff like it. So you can, anything that the device can do, you can do it now. We're just got to empower you, like I said, and put those tools in your hands so that you can let your creativity run crazy.
And the plugins ecosystem, you envision the community be able to contribute their own plugins as well?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
And if you're building a plugin, then would I be writing like native code, Swift or Kotlin or something at that point?
You or Claude for sure.
Whoever's creating the plugin, yeah.
So actually, it's really funny. I created some agents for Claude Code, and like I said, we have full support for Boost in native PHP. What I've done with plugins, though, I actually stumbled into Claude plugins, and so what's really funny is, and I tweeted this, I had to get a Claude plugin. I had to find a Claude plugin. Claude has their own plugin that I can install into Claude that will help me create a plugin, a Claude plugin, so that I can help people build native PHP plugins. So it's like this levels of inception going on. But it's so cool. It's so much more than just like, you can bundle your tasks and your agents and like call this tool when somebody mentions this and all that kind of stuff. And that's something I'm iterating over. And basically, like, I'm just kind of vibe coding or trying to vibe code all of these different plugins. When I run into an issue, I'll go back to the package itself and fix plugins, or I'll tell the AI, the agents, like, I'll tweak it so that it's doing things a little bit more appropriately. I've done really probably 6 or 7, sorry, different plugins just vibe coded. And I think in one Saturday I did like 4 or 5 of them. And it was like, there's Bluetooth capabilities where I could just like find all the devices nearby. There was this one where I was like, just had like a camera looking at me, and I could like move my arms around it. It like had this like spine on me, and it was like detecting when my hands were open and closed and different gestures. And you can actually train an LLM model to like, I've seen people take like 1,000 pictures of an up position, of a push-up, and a down position. And so they'll feed it into the LLM, and now it knows what a push-up looks like. So you can have your camera set up there and you just do push-ups, and it will count your reps for you. You do that with all sorts of different exercise. You can make your own exercise app. There's so many things that you can do with this. It's really fun.
A lot of people cheat with push-up counting, so I think that would be a good app. Cool. Yeah. So it sounds like there is a world of possibilities for sure. One more question maybe from the chat here, and I'm not sure what an EMV card is, but the question is it possible to read EMV card data using the phone's NFC reader using native PHP?
I don't know what EMV card data is.
Oh man, I hoped you did, Shane.
I can Google it, but I'll tell you this. Right now, so we have deep link support right now. So if you tap and I have some around someplace, I have these little like NFC cards that you can program with. There's apps that you can just write to it and read from it. And so those basically, if you put in a specific URL structure and you wire up deep links inside of your application, you can tap an NFC with your app completely off, and it will boot up that app, and it will go to a specific URL specified on the NFC card. That's just reading. That's the device reading it and passing it off. We're just registering this intent filter saying, hey, we care about it. If you go to this URL or deep link, then we want to hear about that. That is not NFC reading or writing. That will be a plugin that somebody will come across. So is it possible right now? No. When plugins come out, 1,000% you can absolutely do. I don't know what EMV card is, but if your device is capable of doing it, you absolutely can do it.
I just did a quick Google search. I think it's like a payment card, a debit card or a credit card that has an embedded chip in it. So like tap payments, I think like a Square device or something like that. I think is probably what the question stems from.
I'll go back to, if the device is capable, then you'll be able to. I don't know, because I have seen other people talk about, I mean, if you go to like any like farmer's market, they usually have this separate other little device that Bluetooths back to their device, and that's separate. So look at what is out there, look at the capabilities of the devices that are out there, and then go from there. But if the device can do it, you can do it with us.
Cool. All right. Any other questions you can see there, Margaret?
No questions, but one comment I thought that was really interesting. It was cool sharing what Carson's been learning at Boy Scouts, and happy birthday to Carson. But yeah, just learning about like edge tools. And Lucas actually just commented saying, I really think that edge components is the way to go. Like creating these tools for people to make some stuff of their own. I think it's pretty cool doing native PHP and seeing what people make with the tools that you make. So I think, I don't know, it was a cool concept I've never heard before, but I think it's super cool. Yeah.
Edge stands for, I think it's it's like this, the way to teach somebody. So it's educate, demonstrate, guide, and then empower. So you educate somebody, you demonstrate it to them, guide them through doing it themselves, and then empower them, give them the tools to move forward with it. So shout out Troop 275, Boy Scouts. They'll love hearing that. Yeah, it's we do plan to probably after India. We will probably start doing. We're doing our weekly live stream on Friday, but I want to get in and show people more like how I am. I'll just vibe code stuff. Like I told you before the show started, I initially was like 2 hours because I wanted to like vibe code. I had this really cool idea for like Tinder for dogs, right? So imagine like lick left, lick right, but it was like called retriever, you know, it was like, and then I'm like, maybe it's for elves because it's the holiday season. So it's like sleigh mates or something like that. So I like have this prompt all ready to just feed into AI. It just takes about 20 minutes or so to get it actually, you know, syncing up and doing all this stuff. But it was really cool. I got screenshots and stuff I can send over.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm hoping people are feeling empowered after this and they try out NativePHP. I think it's super awesome. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Shane.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I had a couple more just high level questions, Shane. What the one thing you'd mentioned early on was that like a lot of the efforts that you and Simon have put in just to get PHP to run on a phone could be extended beyond Laravel, even though that's not your focus right now. Out of curiosity, are you aware of any efforts in the community or otherwise to have something other than Laravel run on top of what you guys have done?
I don't know if it was Laravel or not. I did see another project that somebody, I can't remember what it was called, but they kind of had done something similar to what we were doing. I think they were using, what's it called? It wasn't Go or Rust. It was something like that though. They were using something like that under the hood. That's a little bit different. I don't really know how they were doing the PHP side of things. So there are other projects that we've seen. That's actually the only one that I've seen that was specific to PHP at all. But here's the thing, you know, we're open to talk to anybody about any of this stuff. If you're really ambitious and driven and you want to get that done, we can figure out a way, or we can tell you how to go about it. You could even fork, or like there's things that we can do with licensing and stuff. I think like the whole way that I came into the company was because I just started building, right? I didn't even tell Simon about it. We were friends. We already had another podcast going on with a good friend of ours, Stephen Fox. And he was getting ready for Laracon EU, where he was going to show iOS. And I remember vividly watching live on one screen. I had full screen Simon talking, and then swipe over to the other screen. I'm like, how do you, compile PHP for Android, you know, like just figuring out the basics. So I've kind of hacked my way into the company in the first place. And that's the kind of like, that's kind of energy we're looking for from other people. Just because there's like a paywall there right now. When you have the code, if you want to talk to us about it, if you want to contribute, if you want to talk to us, we're open to those conversations. There's legally like some things that we can and cannot do, but we want to talk to people. We're open. I'm always awake. Trust me.
Awesome. Cool. And then, yeah, maybe last question, just, and I think you touched on this a little bit, but like, what's one of the two of the most requested features, or the, you know, 2026, we'd like to get to this, but we haven't got there yet. What comes to mind for you?
So I think that the plugins concept was the, like scratching our own itch, because people are always, there's like a backlog, and it's like, even it takes time from our day to just go and update the roadmap, right? So people are like, oh, this isn't on the roadmap, that's not on the roadmap, are you not planning? And it's like, let's think of a better way to solve this problem. So I'm extremely excited about that, as well as like I kind of teased it, a way for you to do Laravel new and just kind of see your app running on your own device. We're getting a lot more comfortable with AI. We're getting more comfortable with the fact that other people are more comfortable with AI and vibe coding and all these kinds of things. And we're absolutely playing into that. We have big plans and actually some prototypes that Simon showed me this morning. And so the drive, I think at the end of the day for us, the number one thing that we're trying to do is reduce friction in every possible way. You have an idea, you want it on the Play Store or the App Store, we want to help you get there. You want to sell it, we want to be the guy in the middle, where if whatever we're charging you, you're making 50 times, 100 times that anyway, so it doesn't matter. And we fall into that sort of category, and you can trust us with that. And you can trust that the next big thing that comes out next year, which inevitably something will, we're going to be supporting that as well. So that's kind of our vision and our mentality behind everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Leading edge stuff going on.
The Laravel philosophy, right? Yeah. Developer enjoyment and empowerment. So that's awesome.
Right.
Great. Well, once again, Shane, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of this info. And I think myself, I speak for a lot of people in the community. We're very excited about what you guys are cooking and looking forward to see what's to come in 2026. So
thank you so much for having me again. That was amazing.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you, Shane. We'll talk to you soon. All right. And with that, we've just got, again, a little bit of community stuff to wrap up, and then we'll send everyone off on their day. So what do we have here, Margaret?
Cool. Thanks, Dan. So in January, please join us on January 27th. We're going to have Ashley from the Laravel team show us a little bit about Laravel Boost. So make sure to check us out at meetup.laravel.com for all the details and sign up for our email notifications to find out some more. As for some other things that we got going on, again, if you want to scan that QR code, you can be entered into our draw. We're going to give away one of 2 JetBrains IDEs for a full 1-year subscription. So please scan that QR code if you'd like to join, and then you'll get notified via email. And as for some other stuff that's going on, to keep up to date with what's going on, you can follow us on X at Laravel Worldwide Meetup. That's our official channel. So if you have any ideas or if you're interested in speaking, you could always reach out to us on there as well. And you can also reach us on Blue Sky. We do have a Blue Sky official account. So there's the details, Laravel www.meetup.bsky.social. And if you'd like to stay connected, again, join us at meetup.laravel.com. You can enter your email for all email notifications and to see what's going on and what's cooking for next month. All right. And again, thanks for checking us out on YouTube. Follow the official Laravel YouTube channel for lots of great video content. There's a lot of great channels, a lot of great creators on here. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for what's going on next in the Laravel community.
And that's it. With that, like we said, it's hard to believe we're at the end of 2025 here, Margaret. Any closing thoughts on the year for you?
Just what a blast. It's been, I don't know, there's a lot of things to look forward to. Just the year goes by so quickly, I feel, with these things. It's crazy to think that we've already been doing this for 2 years. So It's been a pleasure with all of our guests on here. It's been such a fun experience. And so very thankful to be part of this community.
Absolutely. I echo those sentiments. Thank you again to all the presenters that we had throughout the course of this year. And since we've been doing this, you couldn't do that without you. And thank you to everyone for tuning in and watching. We wouldn't be able to make this happen if you weren't doing that either. So, and with that, we're heading to the end of the year here. If you're going to be traveling in the next little bit, celebrating holidays with family and friends, please do so carefully. Enjoy that time, get some rest. And yeah, definitely very much looking forward to see what's coming in the Laravel community in 2026. So with that, I would send you all on your way, and we'll see you all in 2026. Have a great day, everybody.
Sweet.